Former SARS executive Ivan Pillay believes that the infamous public protector's SARS rogue unit report was aimed at destabilising the whole revenue service. Pillay has been giving evidence today at the public protector's impeachment inquiry before Parliament. Newzroom Afrika reporter Athi Mtongana is tracking that inquiry. Joins us now live from Cape Town. Athi, give us a broader sense, in fact, of what the testimony has been from Ivan Pillay.
You would know, Tembekile, because Ivan Pillay has deposed of an affidavit which has also gone through the courts because he's been embroiled in litigation with the public protector for years, dating back to 2019 when that report within the South African Revenue Services was released by the public protector implicating him and finding him guilty of maladministration and misconduct. And so basically they're going through the contents of that affidavit, which the evidence leaders started out with, going through the judgments, because you will also recall that even Mr. Praveen Gordhan was implicated in these reports during the investigations, and he took these matters before the courts to review them and have them set aside. And Mr. Pillay, of course, came in as another applicant on these cases to also get the courts to vindicate him in as far as the charges against him, particularly the remedial binding actions that found him to have been acting without regard towards the South African Revenue Services, I should say, because the part of the reports also found that he did not have a matric certificate. On the other hand, you have him now testifying before this committee that he actually does have a matric certificate and that the public protector had not gone through the various routes to try and get evidence from him to this effect of the issue of qualifications. And we're also hearing of the so-called SARS rogue unit, which he was also implicated in. Now, Advocate Dali Mpofu is cross-examining him after the evidence leaders went through those court judgments, which set aside some of those reports in 2019. There's also a new report which also implicates Mr. Pillay, and there he argues that he was completely disregarded by the public protector insofar as getting information from him and evidence and answering for his side of the story. I'd like us to listen to some of the exchanges that took place.
It was suggested to this committee that Minister Gordhan was the primary target of this report. Would you agree with that categorization of the report?
Comrade Chair, it is difficult for me to say exactly, but if I understand it, that the term came from an earlier discussion. I have always felt that there were bigger issues at play, and that it was actually the capture of SARS. And that is the reason why so much of pressure was brought to bear on us in SARS and many other people in the country. So I've never felt that I was a personal target. I don't know whether that answers the question.
Advocate Dali Mpofu put it before him that several agencies found that that particular unit that he was heading up in the South African Revenue Services was unlawful. He went through some of those agencies which, of course, made findings, including the Sikhakhane report. But then again, going back to this issue of how these findings by the public protector affected not only him, but staffers from the South African Revenue Services. Let's hear what he had to say.
And how did that impact on you?
Well, I'll have to go back a bit, and that the problems really started towards the end of, towards the latter part of 2014, when I was suspended in SARS, and I finally left SARS. And there were 2 attempts to criminally prosecute me. There was a continuous barrage of smears in the Sunday Times for a long period. And the public protector's reports and findings then come on the tail end of that. So it's been one long a series of attacks from 2014, well, and it still continues because there's a third report that is current, and the second report, though there is a judgment that stands, public protectors applied for leave to appeal to the Constitutional Court. So it's created turmoil in SARS as an institution. It's created turmoil amongst many staff members of SARS. I think perhaps up to 2,000 people left SARS in that turmoil. And it's caused turmoil, obviously, amongst our friends and family.
Thembekile, allow me to digress. Since we are in Parliament, you might have seen news coming in now that the Speaker of the National Assembly has now referred the motion by the ATM for an inquiry to be set up in Parliament to look into its motion to remove President Cyril Ramaphosa from office. And so she has referred this matter to an independent panel of experts, something similarly to the process that is currently taking place. But she has emphasized in a statement that this particular independent panel of experts is different from an impeachment panel, because we do know that to get the public protector before the Section 194 committee, she had instituted an independent panel which found prima facie evidence of incompetence and subsequently landed the public protector before the Section 194 committee. But she has emphasized that this particular independent panel, now that she's going to refer this motion to against the president, is different from the one that had to look into the public protector's issue. So yeah, we'll keep on tracking these developments coming from Parliament. Thembekile.
Of breaking news, Athi, to follow today. Thank you very much for that update. And by the way, we'll be speaking to the African Transformation Movement about the latest developments on its bid to, as the party says, hold President Cyril Ramaphosa accountable over the Phala Phala farm saga. That conversation coming up closer to 2:30.